I freaking love Mazinger Z. And who doesn't? The thing's a cultural icon in Japan and throughout various parts of the world. I mean, there's a 40-foot tall statue of him in the middle of a forest in Spain. Let that sink in. And he's so popular in the Spanish-speaking world that not only was the show hugely successful, they actually took the movie for the live-action TV series Super Robot Mach Baron and rebranded it in the Spanish-speaking world as a live-action Mazinger Z film called Mazinger Z, the Robot of the Stars. I mean, Mach Baron doesn't even look anything like Mazinger Z, but you throw his name on there and that rockin' theme song and you know you're in for a good time. And that's how this game starts off. You get a great 16-bit rendition of that theme song. Well, you can watch Koji Kabuto piloting this hover car across the screen and into Mazinger's head. It takes a while, but if you're a geek like me, you're going to watch it anyway. And let's talk about that rockin' theme tune for a minute, because it is a rocking theme tune. It's almost as iconic as the character himself. And you see this album here? Well, it might be this one. It might be this one. It was a 2 CD set. Also got Nosferatu in here. But seriously, one of these 2 discs contains 32 tracks of nothing but the Mazinger Z theme song. And it never gets old, let me tell you. That album has brought me countless hours of joy. You've got the original version, extended versions, multiple live versions, hard rock version, techno remix version, even a relaxing jazz lounge version that you can chill out to, light up yourself a cigarette, and just have a nice relaxing time. It's also been great for annoying my neighbors, which is why I've had to move once every 2 years my entire adult life. Worth every penny and easily the second greatest investment I've ever made musically. But you're not here to listen to me prattle on about the theme song. You want to hear me prattle on about this. This game does not fuck around. Right from the start, the plot of the game has Dr. Hell unleashing his minions to conquer the world. Typical stuff on the TV show, but he's going all out this time and has started his assault on Tokyo and has completely leveled the city. Now let that sink in for a minute. Dr. Hell has actually managed to completely obliterate the entire city of Tokyo. Countless hundreds of thousands of people have died at this madman's hand, and you, as Koji Kabuto, could not stop him. By the time you get into Mazinger Z and arrive on the scene, Tokyo is already engulfed in flames. What do you think about that?
He is a dead man.
To really hit things home is the sound design in this game. I'm just going to come right out and mention the soundtrack right away. It's amazing, but everything is great. The presentation here is top notch. This is what you see when you first come into the game. Tokyo on fire and that rockin' soundtrack that lets you know there is a major sense of urgency here. You've got to take these guys down even though you're already too late. But hey, you got to avenge people and make sure this doesn't happen to any other cities in the world. Not to mention that sort of air raid siren going on in the background. It really lets you know that this is serious. This is the type of level that you usually see towards the end of most games, and this is where Mazinger begins. Now at your disposal is Mazinger's full array of abilities. Laser Eyes, Breast Fire, Rust Typhoon, they're all here. Even his famous, often imitated but never duplicated Rocket Punch, which you can do with both your right and left hands using the right and left shoulder buttons on the controller. And in a bit of humor that the game has, if you fire off both your right and left hands, you can't punch until they come back, but you're not completely defenseless, as you can kick and you have your other abilities. And your abilities can be used an unlimited number of times. As long as you have enough energy to pull off the move, you can do it. And if you just wait a little while, it does refill. There's no power-ups. There are health power-ups, but they're few and far between, so you want to play your best in this game. I know that should be said about all games, but you really do here. And we'll give that difficulty a whirl right now. On easy mode, you can breeze through this game with no problems. But from normal and hard, well, I've never played the game on hard, but on normal mode, I can't even beat the first level. So if you just want something to chill out and bash the crap out of Dr. Hell's minions, easy mode has you covered. If you're a guy who likes a challenge, normal will clearly give it to you, at least if you're a no-talent hack like me, and I'm guessing hard mode will probably give you a super challenge. If you're, you know, a masochist who likes to no-death run things, I'm looking at you, Megadan29. This is a game you gotta try and no-death run. The graphical presentation of the game is just as good. I mean, again, check out that background in stage 1 with the heat in the background making everything wavy. It looks amazing, and many of the villains from the TV show are here as your mini-bosses and your actual stage bosses. And that leads to one of my few complaints about the game, Minerva X does show up as a boss in this game, but she's little more than a clone of Mazinger. I mean, that was sort of her purpose on the show, but let's be honest, she has all the same abilities that Mazinger has throughout this game, just kind of reskinned, which means the infamous tit missiles are not here. You know, I get in front of the camera and I just kind of ramble on, and I just say whatever comes to my mind at the time, which has led to me saying some pretty stupid things in the past, but I never thought I'd have to utter something as weird as, I'm seriously disappointed in this game's lack of rocket boobs. But I am seriously disappointed in this game's lack of rocket boobs. That, combined with the fact that there's no digitized voice of him screaming out his attacks. I mean, Mazinger was one of the first superheroes in Japan to yell out the names of his attacks, at least in anime form. If he wasn't one of the first, he's definitely one who made it the most popular. But that's okay, because that voiceover might get old fast, and let's be honest, if you're like me, you're going to be screaming out the names of your attacks as you're playing this game. And that's something else. If you're a fan of this type of thing, this game's going to crank your inner fanboy up to 11, which is what we're doing now. And fair warning, next week's video is going to be more of the same, so you're just going to have to bear with me. Now, upon this game's release in 1993 was also an arcade game, also titled Mazinger Z, so it's easy to get the two games confused, but as far as I know, that and the Super Famicom game are completely different. And you have to remember, 93 would have been about the 20th anniversary of the anime, which came out around 72, 73. So, that was a good time to be celebrating Mazinger like we are now. I even dressed up for the occasion. Or because I just like to randomly wear suits sometimes. Take your pick. The game actually didn't fare too well with critics. It's gotten pretty low scores, and I don't see why. I mean, as a 2D action platformer beat 'em up, a lot of people might think, eh. But again, they give you all of Mazinger's abilities. The graphics look great. The soundtrack is great. I'm really not seeing a problem here. I'm thinking, though, it is sort of a fan service type of game, meaning if you're not into giant robots or Mazinger in particular, it might just come off as sort of a generic 2D beat 'em up for you. But if you are a fan of the super robot genre, and in particular Mazinger Z, well, this game's going to be like sex for you. Baby, you were amazing. But enough about this. The game is fantastic. I would highly, highly recommend it. Again, it may not be for you, but it doesn't matter. I'm giving it the big recommend regardless. And what else is there to say but to put on that rocket theme tune one last time and enjoy.
Mazinger Z 無敵の力は僕らのために正義の心をパイダー飛ばせ鉄拳ロケットパンチ今だ出すんだブレストファイヤーマジンゴーマジンゴーマジンガー山を砕く黒金の城スーパーロボットマジンガー Z 正義の怒りはみんなのために平和の祈りをパイルダー発射命中ミサイルパンチ今だ出すんだルストハリケーンマジンゴーマジンゴーマジンガー
Holy shit.